Hey, quickly before we get into the video, I quickly wanted to share some news about the Signal/Premium group we have. Because over the last couple of weeks, going into the summer, but also the rest of the year, we have started drawing up some plans for spot accumulation of coins like Bitcoin, XRP, but also Solana. So for example, how we started was buying Bitcoin. We actually had limits right here from 100,000 into 98,000. Went in big, are making a lot of profit right now. So if you're interested in spot accumulation plans like that, outside of future signals, consider joining. But that's it for now. Just wanted to let you know about that. And now let's get into the video. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this middle of the day market update, in which we'll talk about some news. All right, we'll do a general fundamental overview of course, of what's going on right now. Not necessarily specific events that are going on right now in the Middle East, but more, how the market is reacting to it, which I think in general might be a more healthy way for all of us to keep track of what's going on. There's a lot of things going on, of course, over the entire day. So, for example, yesterday evening we had that ceasefire go into effect. But over the course of today, there were still effects, and it can get quite difficult to follow all of that. But what you can follow is the prices of oil, gold prices, the US equities, for example, which just opened about 20 minutes ago. So that is also what we're going to do in this video. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what's happening right now, which is the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell testimony, which is today. I think it's already going on. This is showing that it's starting in 11 minutes, but which I also said in my live stream, but I think it's already going on. But that's tomorrow as well. So we'll speak about that, because that at this point of time might actually be most relevant, as long as the fundamentals around the Middle East are quite steady. So right, talking about the fundamentals, or at least the fundamental effects of the Middle East, oil has jumped back down to the prices we saw right here at the beginning of June, so that's good. Low oil prices, great pronunciation, but low oil prices is what we want, all right, because that significantly decreases the pressure on global economic markets, right? So not only for Europe and the United States, but also, for example, for China. And we see in that same breath, we see the volatility index drop down, we see gold dropping down, and this is all great news for risky assets, risky equities, such as stocks, but also such as Bitcoin, right? And you can see right now the stock market is trading higher. We're trading at the highest level since the 21st of February, so that's great for all our stock portfolios, which hopefully we are all also building. Left a bit of a gap to the downsides, and that's also the main opportunity to get some sort of a pullback, because these fundamentals are good enough, I think, to assume that the markets will stay relatively stable. And with the markets, I mean Bitcoin, but will remain relatively stable, and that we can expect more bullish momentum, which is what I think at the moment. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. Now, like I said, Jerome Powell is speaking right now. Yesterday, we had a little bit more positivity about a potential rate cut, which is very positive. So therefore, this testimony is also very, very not only interesting because of the tension kind of between Jerome Powell and Trump, which seems to be a bit one-sided, but still. But also regarding the monetary policy in the next couple of meetings, right? Can we actually get a rate cut in July, yes or no? Yesterday, due to some things that were said by other members of the Federal Reserve, the probabilities of getting a rate cut increased. Right now, they have decreased. All right, so this is something key to watch because of this testimony. It seems like Jerome Powell is going to stick with what he said in a meeting last week during the FOMC as well, which is that July is most likely not going to be a rate cut, although, economic data can change that, and that September is the more likely candidate for a rate cut, right? So at this point of time, is it important news? Yes, right? So that's also why I wanted to tell you about that, and, if you have some time, I would certainly recommend you to watch that. But at this point in time, I would say the most likely scenario is that nothing changes, which is slightly bearish for the markets, by the way. But all right, taking a look at Bitcoin right here. Like I said, I think it's most likely that we are going to see a move for Bitcoin into the value area high right here at 107.5 and 109. From there, I do expect us to reject. I don't see enough fundamental reasons or fundamental strength to break out of this main range high. But getting there, I do expect. I'm not certain about whether we are first going to get a pullback into the range lows right here before going there, or that we'll just see a continuation right here. I would say if you really want my detailed analysis, I would say it's a little bit more likely that we're going to get a pullback first, and that from there we can actually get a move into 107, 108 and potentially higher, depending on some other fundamentals as well. And this is the case, by the way, for a lot of majors. So if we take a look at XRP, for example, it's exactly the same, where we have broken back into the range right here. So either pullback and then into the top of the range, or just a continuation into the top of the range. I think the pullback is more likely, but XRP right now is very correlated to Bitcoin, for about 81% to be specific. And then Ethereum is a little bit more difficult, because Ethereum has not broken back into the range. So in that sense, you know, I would actually say, given this relative weakness, that if we actually do see some sort of escalation again, Ethereum might actually be the best asset to short, and I wouldn't buy it right now. Maybe I'd buy it if ETH BTC reclaims this level right here, because that would signal that we have some relative strength from Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. But at this point of time, that's too early to say. Now, when we're talking about some specific altcoins, I would still say SEI. So SEI still looks quite interesting right here. Not to buy right now, but to buy with a deeper pullback, and just know that the pullbacks can become very, very deep with a coin that's over leveraged like SEI is. And then outside of that, there's not much. I mean, personally, I still like Solana a lot, but that's also very correlated to the markets. And maybe LivePeer, which is LPT. That's the ticker. That is showing quite a lot of momentum right here, and also has some negative funding rates. And in the same breath, which I also have a position in, so that's a disclaimer. IP, which by the way was also called in the premium feeds that we have. But those are my thoughts for now. I think that's what you need to know regarding the market. So hopefully it helps. For now, have a great day, and I'll see you all in my next videos. Bye.